To my dear extended community. We just, the family got up from Shiva for Rabi, Naaser, Banafsheha, Cohen. But I'm expressing everybody's feelings that it wasn't just an Avelut mourning of the Banafsheha and Zagi families. We are all in Avelut. And I think we all need, including myself, we need some nechama about what happened, and just talking to each other also. It's therapeutic. You see, there's a shira in Shira Shirin. There's a pasuk. It says, "Dodi yarad legano la'arugot habosem, lirot baganim velilqot shoshanim." Dodi is my beloved, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yarad legano. He came down to his garden, orchard. Lirot baganim velilqot shoshanim. He came to pick roses. The Tzror Hamor, one of the commentators on Shir HaShirim, says, Lirot baganim sherad lebate knesiot ulebate midrashot. That, where does HaKadosh Baruch Hu go? What is Arba Amot Shel Halacha? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lirot baganim sherad lebate knesiot ulebate midrashot. And he came, and he saw Shoshana. Banafsheha, the Banafsheha, it's a flower in Persian. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that he wants to know why would somebody pick beautiful flowers on a tree? They want to close to them. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided Kot Shoshanim to pick this beautiful rose from the Batei Midrashot and bring him closer to himself. You see, the way it happened, it was really like it was mitat neshika. Everybody knows, coming back Motzei Shabbat, and you see there's so much silver lining that, his brother-in-law was saying, Michael, was saying like, look, they were in shul, and Rabi tells his wife and kids that they should go home and he's going to come. Right, and then when he leaves the shul, then he had a heart attack, whatever it was. And you see, Michael Zagi's brother was saying, could you imagine if they would have walked together and this would have happened? At any rate, it was Lilkot Shoshanim, it was Mitat Neshika. And what's in a Mitat Neshika is for the Neshama itself, it's quick. But it's really so it's very difficult for us, obviously, first and foremost for the family and the rest of the community. You see, there is a midrash that says that till the time of Yaakov Avinu, people would sneeze and die. There was no sickness. So the Midrash says that Yaakov Avinu came and he asked from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yaakov tava et hacholi. Yaakov Avinu alayhi shalom, he demanded, kind of asked for sickness to come to the world. Amar lefanav, he said, Ribon ha'olamim, he said, our Creator, Adam met belo choli. He said, a person like all of a sudden sneezes and dies without sickness, etc. They know Miyashav ben Banav. He didn't do a tzava'ah to settle everything between his family, etc., etc. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Chayecha. Okay, you asked for something good. It makes sense. Davar tov tabata. You ask for something good, and it's going to start from you. And that's why it says, first time when disease is mentioned in Torah, it's by Yaakov Avinu. So here in Persian they say bar parid. This mitat neshika, like all of a sudden he was here, amongst us, and he disappears. You have to realize for the niftar, it's mitat neshika, but it makes it difficult for us. Imagine if this was supposed to happen at this time, etc., etc. It would have been something like a disease that in and out, and Hashem Shmor. See, but you see, we have to realize that the Choli, it's a kind of for the relatives and whoever knows the person. It's like it's gradually they get used to the idea that maybe the worst is going to happen. At any rate, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that it was time Lilkot Shoshanim. It's very interesting that, these are the days, we are preparing for Hanukkah, and we have the mitzvah of Machatzit HaShekel, Zechel Machatzit HaShekel that we have nowadays. And you have to realize that the Mefarshim, Pardes Yosef, I think, a lot of Mefarshim talk about this, that all the donations that were given to build the Mishkan were applied, I think maybe the Banafsheha says that 248 maybe different things that they built in the Mishkan. And each item that was built in the Mishkan is parallel to one of the mitzvot. So the Pardes Yosef argues that the Machatzit HaShekel that every Jew was supposed to give was used for the Adanim. Adanim are the sockets. The sockets are for the things of the Mishkan. It was made of pure silver. Right? So he says, why? Why should they use this Machatzit HaShekel for the Adanim? He says the Adanim are parallel to mitzvah of Emunah. We have 613 mitzvot, and they're all encapsulated in one mitzvah, which is Emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is a socket. This is the base. Right? This is Emunah. Machatzit HaShekel that every Jew, men, women, everybody had to give, was used to build the sockets because that's Emunah. And he says it's interesting that Emunah is based on Machatzit HaShekel. That we are not, Emunah is based on this Yesod, that at any given moment, we are looking at half of the picture. We don't see the entire picture. We are not seeing the entire picture. This is Emunah, Machatzit. We are looking at, it's like, they say they look from a hole of a keyhole, and somebody has a knife, and somebody is bringing knives down. You want to call the police. But you're not looking at the whole picture. If you open the door, you see, no, it's a surgeon who's doing surgery, right? Emunah is based on the fact that we have to realize at any given moment, the picture that we are seeing, it's machatzit. We are not looking at the entire picture. We know, Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, right? Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, I don't understand. Tzadik v'ralo, Rasha v'tovlo. Now we see, Reshaim prosper and they're successful in any way, health, wealth, etc. And tzadikim, and tzadik v'ralo, they're suffering, etc., etc. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell Moshe Rabbeinu? He says, Achorai yirau. What is Achorai yirau? Achorai, the Midrash Tanchuma says, that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Moshe Rabbeinu Achorai, the kesher shel tefillin, the kesher, the nut in the back of the tefillin. So the Zohar HaKadosh says, how does this answer? Moshe Rabbeinu is asking, Mr. Hashem, I don't understand how you run the world, right? How is it possible to have Tzadik v'ralo, Rasha v'tovlo, it shows him Kesher Shel Tefillin. The Zohar HaKadosh says something unbelievable. The Zohar says the truth straps of Tefillin, One represents chesed, one represents gvura. The Zohar says that on the left is gvura, is the judgment, and the right one, the strap, right, is chesed. And that's why halacha says that always the right strap is longer than the left one. And actually, Ben Shai says like we should stick the left strap on top of the chagura and just to show, because it shows that the midah of chesed of Hakadosh Baruch Hu is much bigger than his gvura, that punishment, 500 times, right? So you see, the Zohar says this is all what you see in the front. In the front, you see there is chesed, there is gvura. Two different things. There is judgment, punishment, and there is love, benevolence, right? But when you look at the back, you see it both comes from the same place. These two straps come from the same place. And this is Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We have to realize, right? This is what it means that we don't see the whole picture, right? That even the punishment, Rahman al-Islam, the expression for us, it comes from a loving place. Both of them, Chesed, Gvura, come from the same place. We don't understand. We don't understand the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is El Emunah Ve'el Oven Tzadik V'Yashar Hu. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is pure Rachamim. Is pure Rachamim, and we don't understand why. But this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted. Maybe we weren't worthy of having this Shoshana, this amongst us. Hashem wanted him closer to himself. And it's once this is the Gaon of Vilna. I'm taking, because we all need healing. You see, I always say it over. I'm sure I've heard it so many times that I heard in the Shem Gaon of Vilna that there's a question like when Rabbi Akiva was being murdered brutally, etc., etc. Right? This is one of the midrashim that we read in during Megillat Echa, right? Tisha B'Av, that when they were combing his body with so the Malachim at Bat Kol Mishamayim said something like, what is this? Zo Torah v'zo schara? Malachim are saying, this is Torah v'zo schara. This is the Torah that he learned, and this is the reward that he deserves. What's going on? So it says the heavenly voice said, "Shtok, quiet. If not, if you don't quiet, then I am going to take back the world to the beginning, when the mine that the water covered everything. The beginning of the Maaseh Bereshit, Genesis. What kind of answer is that?" So the Gaon of Vilna, I heard, they says, look, it's a mashal. So once there was a king, he wanted a monarch, he wanted to crown himself, and he wanted to have the most gorgeous garment for his coronation. And he went and he brought this Jewish best tailor, and he gave him the most expensive fabric, it's all with gold threads, etc., etc., very expensive fabric, and he gave him a place in his palace. Come, make me this garment, and gave him enough money and everything, reward to create a creation to tailor. And this person he created a masterpiece for the king. The king was very happy and gave him even more reward. But then people in the palace, they were jealous of this Jewish tailor, and they started telling the king, he did a great job, but where are the remnants? Where are the remnants? You gave him this fabric is every foot. It's where's the remnants? You gave him so much, and all this So the king at the beginning, finally, he called in the tailor, the Jewish tailor, said, look, you did a great job. But where is the remnants? Where is the remnants of this expensive garment that fabric I gave you? He says, Your Majesty, everything is there. It has folds, it's pleats full of it's there. So no, it can't be this and that. When the tailor sees that he cannot convince the king that nothing was stolen here, he says, look, the only option is give it to me. I'm going to undo it, open it up, and you'll see not a millimeter is missing from this garment. Here also HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, like, you have questions why? You think something, I have to take you back all the way to the beginning of the of creation, because you have to realize you're Gilgulim. Person is not just once here. If you look at the entire picture, you see that this Rabbi Akiva was the Gilgul of this and that. You'll find out. This way, you can. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered the shtuk. If you want to understand, you have to see the whole picture. Right here, obviously, we don't see the whole picture. We don't know that's what is for sure. We say Dayan Emet. That Rabi came to his completion in the short time that he was here. He was only 43. But it's I really it says Adam etz hasadeh. Adam etz hasadeh. Person is like a tree. A tree has to have roots. Emunah is the roots. Also, there's another thing interesting by trees, the Mefarshim say. If you go to Sequoia, you don't see how tall the trees are as if they're standing. When you see a fallen Sequoia tree, you see, wow, it's so big. The same thing is with human beings. We don't appreciate, where they are amongst us, we don't appreciate their greatness. After they fall, then we see how great they were. Rabi was 43 years old when he passed. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu took this Shoshana closer to him. But we have to realize, it says, but Abraham Zaken Baba Yamin. The Zohar HaKadosh says, what is Zaken Baba Yamin? He got old. What is Baba Yamin? The Zohar says every day of our life as a malach, if a person lives that day properly, so then Baba Yamim, the days of his life, mitzvot maasim to him, they come to defend him. But if he didn't live his days right, if he wasted his time, his life, so then Baba Yam, it's not the days of those malachim that represent every day. So they're embarrassed to go in front of HaKadosh. Avram Avinu was Zaken Baba Yamim. Avram Avinu was Zaken. He lived 175 years, and he lived Baba Yamim. Every day he lived. Every day he lived constructively. Was Avram Avinu. Torah, Chesed, Anana. Some people, right, are Zekenim, but they are not Baba Yamim. And there are some people that are Baba Yamim, but they are not Zekenim. Rabi ben Naaser Banafsheha, he was Baba Yamim. He wasn't a Zaken, but he was Baba Yamim. He lived his life every day. And we don't realize, constantly other stories that how much chesed he did. Right? I saw from USC from the time that he was in the USC, the Chabad rabbi, he wrote a long thing he wrote, but he went to how much chesed he was doing there. In our community, how much chesed he was doing. So many mostot, right, he was supporting, and everything very quietly. Very quietly. I mean, is that his anava was unbelievable. It says la'anavim iten chen. Everything, we were saying, like, he would never raise his voice. It was always this anivut la'anavim iten chen. Right? You see, hesped means, what you're doing this hesped, right? Hesped, the letters are hefsed. Hefsed is what the Mepharshim say. Hefsed, loss. What did we lose? What did we lose? We lost an individual that he should be, I think this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants him to be a role model, right, for all the people like his age and younger, right? They should look up to him, right? You see a person that he was learning how, I can't believe it. He was learning with Rabbi Aryeh for 12 years. 12 years was learning with him, and half a day was learning. And at the same time, he was Baruch Hashem successful in business. He was Baal Chesed, doing Gemilut Chasadim, on and on and on. Right? We have to realize we are all in pain. We are all in pain, but Chas v'Chalila, we have to realize that that this we could turn this around to be. See, I think the Satan cannot see that Baruch Hashem, how we in these in Los Angeles they talk about all over that Baruch Hashem among the Persian Jewish community, it's one of the most beautiful communities, if not the best that you could imagine. Baruch Hashem, we have so many Batei Midrashot, so many young Rabbanim, devoted Rabbanim, the likes of Rabbi Aryeh and the rest, right? All the kollalim that we have, the schools that we have, etc. So Baruch Hashem, Torah is flourishing in our midst, right? And everybody has a part in it, right? The Satan can't see that. The Satan can't see that. The Satan came, Esav, and started, right, fighting with the Malach Shel Esav with Yaakov Avinu. He wasn't able to win him over, but Tamchin Deoraita, Yerech Yaakov, right? He was able to cause Yaakov Avinu a limb, and to support for Torah. I think this is, Rabi was one of the biggest supporters of Torah in our community, right? Helping with Torah and Gemilut Chasadim, etc., right? And really, Chas v'Chalila, we should not get. It's obvious that all of us, we are mourning what happened. That's Serafadat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We took this Shoshana amongst us, but we have to continue, Ezrat Hashem. We have to continue, and his neshama would be happy to see how he becomes like a role model for a whole new generation. And it's amazing how many neshamot he touched. Amazing. We were there, up there, a few hundred people there, and on these, and I see constantly people, right? And we have to realize that they have said, right, is we have to make up that hefsed. This is the hefsed. We have to make up for what was lost by learning more Torah, doing more Gemilut Chasadim. And I hear that, there is talk maybe to create some kind of Rabi Banafsheha Chesed Foundation, etc., that everybody should generously help to perpetuate what he stood for. Just in conclusion, I don't know if you heard it or not. When I heard the news that Sunday, I wasn't myself. And then, this happened in Palm Springs. That, Rabbi had gone there with his family to spend Shabbat there. And at the same time, Sheikh Yad Me'av Esrim, the yeshiva of Los Angeles, my son had the entire yeshiva, they were in Palm Springs, a different place. So when my son came back, I told him, "Did you hear what happened?" He said, "Abba, you won't believe it. See, in Palm Spring, I don't know, he wasn't sure if he had a dream Friday night or Sunday, or Motzei Shabbat. He said, I had a dream that, I saw Rabi dressed beautifully, beautiful suit, and black hat. And he was very, very happy, smiling with a whole group of, yeshiva boys, right? Very joyful. This is the dream that he had. Exactly. Exactly there in Palm Springs. I mean, I don't think it's. I think, Hakadosh Baruch Hu was giving us nechama right away. I called, and I went over, and I told his wife, and I told his mother and the family the dream that he had, right? And it's obvious. It's obvious that his neshama is Dodi Yarad Legano. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our beloved Father, he came down, right, and he wanted, and he picked it. It was mitat neshika, right? He came to the Batei Midrashot, right? I told you that's what the Tzura says, right? Lirot baganim, שירד לבתי כנסיות ולבתי מדרשות, and he picked the best, the Shoshana to him. And just to finish, the Chida says, לראות בגנים וללקוט שושנים is לשוב. That the message for us is really to do tshuva, to learn some of his ways, and Be'ezrat Hashem to fill that void that was created with more hours of learning, more tzedakah, more gemilut chasadim, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we hope. I was telling his mother that I have seen that how these orphans, the 3 orphans, they're going to do tremendously. And obviously, they don't have their Abba here, but the Abba is going to watch them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also Avi Yetomim Ba'almanot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself would see to it that Be'ezrat Hashem, these the Yetomim and the Almanot, to give them nechama, and they should have Hatzlacha in all the ways. Amen. Ken Yiratzon.